Welcome to our Football Officials video training series. We're studying the National Federation of High School Rules and five-man mechanics. This video is produced by the Arkansas Association of High School Officials. We're helping good officials get better. Technical assistance provided by Dax Hill, Greg Dowdham, and George Demetrio. Our producer is Matt Biven. Executive producer is Walt Coleman. And I'm your host, Todd Allen. Welcome to our Week 1 training video. Before we get started, a couple of things I want to say. First of all, COVID continues to plague our communities, our entire country, really the whole world. So when you get a chance, practice safe social distancing. Do what you can to mitigate your chances of being exposed or exposing someone else. It's very, very difficult to do. But I also want to say my thoughts and prayers are with those who have been affected. It seems like it's affected almost all of us, but we need to think about those who have been adversely affected and keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Second thing I wanted to say, you may see yourself or your crew on one of these videos or someone else that you've worked with. We're not trying to do anything here to embarrass or humiliate anyone on a video. All we're trying to do is look at some plays, talk about some things, work to get better as a team, and deliver the best high school football we can possibly deliver. That's our goal for every official that I know and work with, and I appreciate everything that you all do to have such a positive impact on young people that play this sport. So enough of the introductions, let's get right to some plays. So we take a look at this first play, and a couple of things that I want to point out. First of all, we see the quarterback's going to roll to his left, and that is his home team bench area. And the referee does a great job recognizing here the quarterback's not under any duress, not headed to his opponent's bench area. So he chooses to stay behind and look at this action that we see here. And we notice that this player is on the ground, and then we're going to see another big hit to a player on the ground. We know by rule that a player that's on the ground is a defenseless player. And so this contact here, clearly a foul, and now the question becomes, does this rise to the level of forcible contact, and do we want to disqualify? And what we did in this play is we did in fact disqualify. Absolutely no reason for this player to go after a defenseless player on the ground, and you can see when you slow it down that there is helmet contact. What I want to point out about this play, and I think the valuable lesson is, you don't want to get into a discussion about we've disqualified or we've thrown a penalty flag for helmet-to-helmet contact. Because then if something hits other than the helmet-to-helmet first, you get into that discussion about did you miss the call? And you can avoid that altogether. Because forcible contact above the shoulders, if flagrant, is a disqualifying offense. So if you just use that verbiage, forcible contact above the shoulders is what we're looking at. Then it's much, much easier to focus on the player, the conduct of the players and what happened, and not get into a tit for tat over exactly what hits first. This play, it does look like there is helmet-to-helmet contact first, but you do see the player does extend his arms and shoves the player as well. Doesn't matter. Absolutely no reason to hit a defenseless player on the ground. Yet too much head contact. This is exactly what we're trying to get out of the game. So we had much discussion about this play, but the consensus is it's a disqualifying play. Correctly officiated here, the message to players, don't hit a defenseless player, and there's absolutely no reason, but this is behind the play. There's just a lot of things wrong with this play. So, but kudos to the referee for recognizing the play develops, you can spread out and officiate more of the field, you stay with the potential foul, you correctly rule on a defenseless player hit, forcible contact above the shoulders, and you disqualify. Great play to look at, great play to talk about. The thing that's the most important to talk about this with your crew on Friday night, on Thursday night, whenever you're working, is who's going to see this if the quarterback is being pursued closely or is running into his opponent's team bench, because the referee's going to have to stay with him. He's not going to be able to see this action. The umpire may have a chance. It's tough. Wing officials, tough. They're downfield, and we're spread out here and throwing the ball down the field. So very interesting play to look at, to talk about. Correctly officiated here. We have a flagrant personal foul, forcible contact above the shoulders. All right, let's keep moving. It's the second play. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. Is a kick play, which you know I hate. You know, we got 22 guys spread out across the field. We're going to officiate them with 5. We'll do the very best we can. But this one, whew. So we'll just I've got 2 angles to look at here. The first one, this wide shot. And you see the kicking team just comes down and we've got a defenseless player here in the process of fielding a kick and just gets wiped out. This play, we properly officiate as well. This is also a disqualification. Forcible contact above the shoulders.
flagrant in nature. Absolutely no reason for this. So great job by this crew here. We get the coaches on the field. This is a nasty play, but we do properly officiate. Just wanted to show you a couple of different looks here of plays that we saw for disqualification that we thought were properly officiated. And, when you get a chance to look at these in training videos, when you see them on the field, they're a little easier to officiate. So great job by this crew as well. All right, let's stick with the kick plays and take a look at this one. I've got these two players highlighted, and that's who we're going to eventually follow through the play. But man, I'm going to mark this thing up a bunch. I got a lot of graphics here I built I want to use. So, all right, we follow this play down, and what we're going to do when we watch these two players is we're going to talk again about a term we call chase mode. For those of you who've been with me a while, you're very familiar with chase mode, but if you're new, it's worth revisiting and a good review for those of you who have been around. So chase mode, let's use this player as our example because he's standing where the field changes colors, and we've got a parallel line that's really, really good, nobody around him. So basically, if you think about a player in chase mode, think about a clock. And this player who's here by himself, looking directly ahead he'd be looking at 12, and behind him naturally would be his 6. So 3 and 9 are on the sidelines, and basically on the back side of the clock, anywhere between the position of 3 and 9, anybody from in that position is chasing him, and hence the term chase mode. So if you are in chase mode and going to block a player, you have got to get 100% of your contact on the side or in the front. Absolutely no contact can come from the back. If it did, it would be a block in the back. Conversely now, a player who is not in chase mode, if there's some contact in the back, that's fine as long as the majority of his contact's in the side or in the front. So we see players going sideways a lot, and we don't want to call blocks in the back because the player who blocked him was not in chase mode. When we see a player in chase mode and there's contact in the back and some in the side and the player goes sideways, we do want that called as a block in the back because he came from chase mode. So you see, it's very, very important to understand this concept. And the most important thing about blocking the back, to get these plays right, you've got to see the entire play. Because if you get to a play when a block's already initiated, it may look like it's a block in the back. And you may think the player's in chase mode, but if he initiated the block initially from a position other than chase mode and there is some contact in the back, we don't want to foul for a block in the back called because he didn't come from chase mode. So let's go back and follow this play now. These are our two players again. And we're going to go back to the very beginning. So let's go back to this play, and we're going back to the very beginning again, and here the players are highlighted. And we're going to walk through and talk through this. Now you can see, obviously starting from the front, this player is not in chase mode. He's on the receiving team. So he starts out on defense, remember. They're running side for side. Look, their feet are parallel. I mean, they're literally step for step. And there is some occasion here where the defender is actually ahead of the kicking team player. Let's call them now receivers and kickers. So our focus is the positioning of the receiving team player, and does he get to chase mode? Now you can see he initiates the block here clearly from the side and not from a position of chase mode. So we don't want this right now. This contact certainly not a block in the back. We stay with it though. He never really loses contact. He does get behind the receiver, but he's already initiated contact. You can see, look at his body position here. There's contact here. And then here, he's already started to push the player. And that, when he starts to push him, he does get further behind the player. Now, freeze frame this for a second, because here's what I want you to think. If you get to this right here, this looks like a textbook block in the back. But remember, you got to see the whole play. We know when we back this play up, we know from watching the whole play that this contact was initiated from a position other than chase mode. And it was initiated at the side, and it continues on through, and he shoves him by the ball carrier, and that is not a block in the back. And this crew correctly does not call a block in the back. The receiving team player maintained contact, did shoving from the back, but there was the majority of the contact started from the side, so it doesn't meet the elements of a block in the back. Very good call here. Great play to look at and study with your team. And we had a lot of discussion about this play too. Fortunately, we've got Dax Hill from the Southeast Conference, a back judge, one of the very best in the country, talked us through this play on a conference call last night. Just a great resource to have. Let's look at one more play for a potential block in the back. All right, so let's take a look at another play involving a potential block in the back. And I've got two cuts to look at, two different angles here. We've got the wide shot, and then we've got an end zone shot. So the quarterback and the wide receiver both bootleg out to the right side of the offensive formation. Just a little pass down screen here, and this wide receiver becomes a blocker. So I'm going to stop it here and then give you this shot from the end zone. Exact same play. So you just get a little better look at, or a little different look at the contact. The thing you're going to have to ask yourself as you watch this play is, does this wide receiver lose contact on the block and then enter chase mode status? Because that's instant. And then if he is in chase mode, does all of the contact occur from the front or the side? There is a lot of side contact, and just the physical aspect of this block, it does look very similar to the block on the previous play as far as what conduct both players engage in during the block. But now we go back and take another look at this play. I want to show you this, but I'm going to stop it again for you and talk about this. This wide receiver completely loses contact. He's a yard behind the defender and is in chase mode. Then initiates this block with some of the contact from the side, some of the contact from the back. Like I said from our previous discussion, if you come from chase mode, all of the contact has to be on the side or from the front. And not all of this contact does come from the side or front. He does initiate some of this contact from the rear, and he does initiate this contact from a chase mode. This is a block in the back, and we actually call a block in the back on this play and then pick it up. But chase mode blocks, some of the contact is from the back, and this is a block in the back that we incorrectly pick up and actually call this a no call. So here's one that got away from us because this is from chase mode and there is some contact in the back. We do want a block in the back called on this play, which, like I said, they do drop it and then talk themselves out of it. And I don't know what that discussion was. Could have been, did you see the whole play? Did he come from chase mode? Just those questions could have come up, and some doubt crept in, so we ended up picking up the flag on what was a good call for an illegal block in the back. All right, that's it for this week. A couple of things that I want to talk about. This is from my conversation with coaches this week. We continue to struggle with communication. We continue to struggle as game managers. We do a pretty good job officiating the game, but then we make game management errors that create problems for us. One of the things I want to really caution you about is your dialogue. What you actually say to the player, and I love preventive officiating. I think it's a very important aspect of what we do as game officials. But some things I'm going to caution you not to say. If you do that, I will do this. You don't need to say that. You don't need to say, if you block him in the back again, I'm going to throw a flag. You can say, be careful, make sure your contact's not in the back. And that's one that's borderline that you talk the players out of, or you try to talk the players out of. You can also tell players to stop talking, but that needs to be the extent of it. Stop talking to your opponents. You don't have to ask them what they're saying. You don't have to ask them anything. And you certainly don't need to say what you're going to do if they don't do it. It's just bad game management. Just say, hey guys, cut the chatter. Hey guys, knock it off. Don't talk to him. Oh, we're buddies. We went to summer camp together. All right, we'll talk about it after the game, guys. Just talk to your own team, okay? Things get misunderstood. You can follow that up. It doesn't have to be confrontational, and it definitely doesn't need to be threatening in any manner. Just have a conversation. And then if you have a player that is jawing that you can't get to stop, it's also worth it to get the sideline official on his sideline to say, hey, coach, number 38, please. We've asked him a couple of times. He won't stop talking to the opponents. Can you help us with that? That's the kind of preventive officiating we need to do. Stay away from any type of a threat. That's it for this week. Hydration continues to be important. It's still hot. Work on these things that we've talked about. Communicate as a crew. Get better every week. Guys, if you have thoughts, comments, or questions, I'm going to give you this email address, toddallen65@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to me and drop me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Hear how you and your crew are using these videos or what you'd like to see to help your crew get better. It's what it's about. Working together as a team to improve high school football. That's our goal. We're the Arkansas Association of High School Officials. This is Todd Allen saying, I hope to see you on the field real soon.